What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a little bit quick, a little bit shorter than our normal videos, but I wanted to share with you the step-by-step technique of exactly how I shampoo my client's hair, including how to make sure that you're not soaking your client's neck and making sure that you're rinsing out all of the color and getting everything taken care of. If you are a newer stylist, cosmetology student, or you just want to brush up on your shampoo technique, this video is for you. If this is our first time hanging out, my name is Jamie Dana, and I am here to support you on your hair journey, and I create tons of videos just like this one for you. So we're gonna bring in my client, we're gonna bring her over to the shampoo bowl, and let's get started. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I have my client here and I just finished doing her color. So one of the things that's the most important is you wanna make sure that you're draping your client properly. So if she was just coming in for a haircut, I would make sure to add the towel around her shoulders, right along her neck. But because we did color, I had already put the towel in there, so it's already underneath all of those foils. But that towel is just gonna ensure that if we do get any bit of water underneath the neck, it's gonna make sure that it doesn't leak onto her clothes, or if it does, it's gonna absorb it a little bit. So first, we want to always drape our clients. Next, we want to make sure that we have all of the hair off the face as much as possible. Now, for some clients that sometimes have bangs or hair that's maybe some baby hairs, or even a male client, we want to get it off the client's face before we even turn on the water. And because we're doing color here, I'm going to pull these foils and I want to make sure that I'm pulling away from the client's face just to make sure that we're keeping all of their hairs off the face. So before I even put the water on, I'm gonna make sure, again, we've got it all away from her hairline. And I'm also gonna check underneath to make sure that we've gotten all of these little baby hairs as well. So sometimes there'll be pieces that are maybe caught underneath the towel, especially if we just did a color service. So we're gonna ensure that all of this is in here. Now this is also gonna go, even if we did a root touch-up or a color, maybe an all-over color, we just wanna make sure that we have all the hair here and that this towel is pulled down far enough. We don't want this bunching up in here because A, it's gonna make it harder to rinse the hair down here, and it's also gonna get super, super wet. So it's kind of just creating that little barrier, and then we can lay the client's head back down. Now, before I put the water on the client's head, I do like to test it. And sometimes as I'm testing the water, waiting for it to warm up, if we have a color service, I can go ahead and rinse some of this color because it's not touching the client's scalp yet. I'm waiting for it to warm up. Might as well use up that water and rinse while we can. Let's do this. I'll test the water once again, make sure that the temperature feels pretty good. A little bit less. And then I will put it on the client's scalp and I'll ask them, how does that feel? How does that feel?
That feels great.
Awesome. And then I go in and I start to go around the hairline. Now with this client, all we did was a balayage, foliage type of service. So she doesn't have any color that's right here or anything that we need to get into right on the hairline. But if she did have a color service, you can go watch some of my other videos, but I do have this technique where I just kind of massage the hairline to help kind of lift that color up. But for this one, obviously you don't need to. This would also be the same for like a haircut or something like that. So what we want to do is I like to just kind of get through this top section. I'll kind of lift the hair up. I'm kind of making sure that I'm rinsing the color as I go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath her neck. So I like to take my hand and I like to tell my clients, I'll point the water away from my client and I'll tell my client, go ahead and lay your head back on my hand. I got you. I'm supporting you. So I'm supporting their head with my hand. This is really important because you want to make sure that this is going to be the hand that you're cupping so that water's not going down the neck. You can lay back for me. And the whole time I'm instructing my clients what to do because often clients want to try to help you out through the shampoo process, especially when you're rinsing color, and they want to lift their head up for you thinking that that's helpful, but actually that's not helpful at all. So go ahead and lay back. There we go. And now I'm just taking my nozzle and I'm kind of using my nozzle to massage through some of that color underneath, but I'm using my hand as the barrier. So this is what it looks like underneath the head. So I'm literally using my nozzle to massage the head, and my hand is that barrier so that water's not hitting their neck. That's literally what it looks like underneath. And I do a couple passes underneath just to make sure that we're really rinsing really well. Now, when we're rinsing color, we do want to open up the hair a little bit to make sure that we got all of the color really well. This one is lightener, but especially if you're doing an all over color or a color that is going to be thicker, we want to make sure that we rinsed it really, really well. And one of the ways that you can tell is if there is still a little bit of residual in the bowl, like the actual color, that might mean that it's not quite rinsed out. Unless you're doing like a redhead or something that's highly pigmented, then you might still see some of that runoff. But you're just kind of opening up and making sure that it got rinsed really well. So now I'm just going to wring out her hair. And with this particular service, we did do a little bit of teasing. So you can kind of see that there is a little bit of this tangle, a little bit of matting. So before we even move on to doing the shampoo, a toner, or anything, I'm gonna go ahead and comb this out and just brush it out with my client before we move on, because we don't want it to continue to get tangled and more matted. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my towel here and I'm just gonna kind of dry these ends a little bit so they're not sopping wet right here. And then I'm gonna grab my brush. I'm gonna have her sit up and we're just gonna kind of detangle some of this. So one thing I like to do is I do like to get like a little detangling product and just kind of spritz it in, especially right where those matted pieces are, where we did a little bit of teasing. We're gonna get that pretty generous in there. It could be any detangling product. You could use conditioner as well, but I like a detangling product because it's not too thick. I want to be able to still comb through it, and sometimes with the conditioner it can be a little thick. So then I'm just going to start on one side and just take some small sections and start to comb it out, starting from the bottom, working our way up towards the head. So you can see here, I'm just literally, these ends are already detangled, great. We're just gonna work up towards the mid shaft and then all the way to the root area. Now you might notice that sometimes with a brush, we tend to want to go in to the brush this way, but actually if you turn your bristles this way, this will actually help detangle it. And if you look at it, you can see how the rows of the bristles are like this. So this is gonna be easier to detangle versus like this where they're more brick-lay, that's gonna cause more tangles. So instead of going in like this, turn the brush and go this way. It's gonna be a little bit easier to help you kind of go through that section. You can see here versus this. So I'm gonna go through, detangle the rest of her hair, and then we'll move on. Okay, so now that I've combed her out, I actually did a little deep conditioning treatment. I did Olaplex number 2 because we had just done her color. So we let that process for about 5 to 10 minutes. And now I am going to rinse her out and then we're gonna go into the shampoo. So when it comes to shampooing my client, I typically like to do about 1, 2, sometimes even 3 pumps of shampoo. But first, I like to make sure to re-wet the hair if I just towel dried it. So for instance, in this one, we just did a toner, so I kind of towel dried it. It kind of has gotten dry. So I like to make sure that the hair is really wet before we go in with our shampoo. So I'm gonna do about like 2.5 pumps there. And I always emulsify in my palms, and then I go straight to the client's scalp. So sometimes I'll just kind of put it right here and then get into the sides, make sure that we got it up through the top. Now, if for some reason the shampoo isn't sudsing up like this, it's probably because it's really concentrated and you just need to add a little bit of water. So I'll take even just my nozzle and like squirt it down so slightly, and that's gonna help it emulsify into the hair and really work that shampoo in. So I'm gonna go in here. I like to kind of use my fingers to kind of massage up through the hairline, take my fingers through the sides here, and I'm kind of just doing a rotational kind of massage technique. Now, I do have nails, you can kind of see that here, but I'm not using my nails to scratch the scalp. I'm literally using my finger pads, and of course my nails are then just kind of dragging along the scalp, but using more my finger pads to create that texture to really get the color off of the scalp. So we're going in right here. Now you'll notice that basically all we have is shampoo here through this top part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another pump of shampoo, and I'll emulsify it into both of my hands. And then I'm gonna go underneath her head down here, and we're gonna get all the way under here. So you can kind of sometimes leave the client's head up. You can use your fingers to massage here. Make sure that we're getting this right here behind the ear nice and clean, getting this really clean in this bottom section. Do the same thing on both sides. And I'm also opening up the hair to make sure that we're getting shampoo in this area back here as well. So I'll pull her head back down. Sometimes I like to pull the shampoo a little bit through the ends, especially because we just did her color. We do want to bring down the pH of the hair. Again, if we just colored it and we didn't do a toner, sometimes the pH of the hair might be really high because we just opened up that hair shaft. So I like to kind of just emulsify down here, make sure that we're rinsing out all of that color. Another fun trick too that I like to do, especially with my blonde or balayage clients, when I have the shampoo in the hair like this, it's kind of sudsed up. This will kind of give you a true idea of what the tone will look like because we have a little bit of that whiteness in there. Once it's dry, it'll kind of look similar to this. So if the color is a little warm or too light or too dark, this is now the time to correct it while you're still at the bowl. So that's just kind of a fun little color hack that I like to have. Just gonna come back up through the scalp again, making sure to really get in this back section right here and really just massaging it out and asking your clients for their preferences of whether they like their scalp a little bit more scrubbed or not too much. Some clients have more of a sensitive scalp, so you just want to be aware of that. And then I kind of take a little bit more here, just make sure that we add some more shampoo, and we'll go one more time underneath. And this time when I have the client's head, I'm just literally kind of doing this with my fingers to kind of get out all of that color or any product that we have in there, and really making sure that we're cleansing the scalp. So now that we're kind of done with the shampooing part, I like to just kind of clear a lot of these suds away from the hairline before I even turn the water on, and kind of even just wring out her ends a little bit, especially with long hair. I like to just get out a lot of those suds before we even turn on the water. Then we're gonna go in, turn on the water. I like to clean off my hands first so that they're clean if I come around the hairline. I also like to just clear out the bowl of any suds, kind of pop those bubbles, because if not, they'll just stay in the bowl forever. So we'll kind of clear that out. And this is also kind of waiting for the water to warm up, get to the right temperature. And again, we'll do this while we rinse her ends, let it kind of warm up. It's actually a little hot here. So rinse it here. Feels pretty good. And now what I like to do is I'll go in right along the hairline, and you can't really quite see it here, but I am holding right over her ear. I'm protecting it. So the water comes around this way and it comes off my hand. So I'm making sure to get it right in there. We're clearing that out. And now we're not having water run down into the client's ear. That is something that can be really annoying for clients. We don't want it running into the ear. I can also pull the ear back and just kind of rinse underneath there as well. So we'll keep doing that on this side, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Same thing, I'm taking my hand, protecting the ear. We run along the hairline, and we rinse. Kind of emulsify in there, make sure we got it all out. I take back here, just kind of check right there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing that we did earlier, where I take my hand, we run this right here, and just kind of pull through. We'll do that a couple times to make sure we got all the suds underneath the neck. Perfect, you can lay your head back on me. Yep, keep going, yeah, there we go. Get it all under here and rinse through those ends. Now, one thing that's a little hack you can do, I'll turn off the water here for a second. Let's say for some reason you're not able to really clean down here very well. A hack you can do is you can tell your client to turn your head towards me, like that. So now I can access this area down in here because now I have a little bit more space to do so. Depending on your shampoo bowl or whatever you're using, or a nozzle, sometimes this area is a little bit harder to access. So just having them turn their head towards me, now I can access this area, and then go ahead and turn your head away from me. Now I can access this area down here. So that's a little hack if you're struggling to kind of rinse those back neck areas. So once we've finished our shampoo, we're gonna get into the conditioner. And with our conditioner, I like to have it more so on the ends first. So I always start with a decent amount of conditioner, especially for somebody who has longer hair. Her hair is probably gonna tangle a little bit. I can just kind of tell from her texture. So I always emulsify into both of my hands here. So we got a good little amount on each one. And we're gonna start here in the ends. The thing you don't wanna do is you don't wanna go immediately to the top of the head like you would with the shampoo, because we don't want the most of our product to be here at the top. We want it to be here more on the ends where it's gonna get tangled and where it actually is probably more dry. So we're gonna grab a little bit more here, a tiny bit, and just literally kind of saturate these ends really, really well. Then what we have left in our hands is what we'll go and massage the scalp with. She, as a client, tends to have a little bit more of an oily scalp, so I don't want to put too much conditioner up here because it's going to make her scalp more oily, but we do want to make sure that we are conditioning this area. So one thing you can do is you can kind of pull the hair out like this and condition that way so that we're making sure to get the conditioner up here, or you just kind of avoid this area with like saturating too much. So whatever's left in my hands is what I'm going to use to do our massage technique. So the massage is the most important part of the shampoo experience. I like to have a little bit of product on my hands, again, not too much. And I like to go in just starting directly right here. I'm literally pressing in on the sides, again, using the tips of my fingers here. And then I like to do a little nice massage right here around the front. Just really taking my time. And when I'm doing this, I'm typically not talking to my clients. I'm not asking them questions. I'm literally just letting them relax as I massage through their head. So we do about 3 passes there. And then I like to take my hand, and you can see I'm using my pointer finger or my pinky finger and my thumb to massage, and these fingers right here through this top part. Then I'm going to take this hand here and just start to massage the back of the head. One way that you can get really good at doing head massages is to massage your own head and see what pressure points feel good and what spots don't feel great. There's going to be spots on your head that feel really good to be massaged, and then there's going to be other spots that kind of feel a little bit painful. So just keep that in mind as you're creating your head massage routine of what feels really good to you and most likely it'll feel great to your clients. So we're going in here at the top. Now we're going to focus in on the sides again. So I'm going to take my 2 strong middle fingers here, and I'm going to go down through the temple. And some clients, I even go a little bit further down into their jaw area because a lot of people hold tension there. And I always ask my clients if it's okay, if it's too much.
This is great.
Most clients say that. You can even kind of get behind the ears a little bit into the neck area if you're comfortable doing that. For clients that have a lot of makeup on, I try not to go too far because I don't want to rub off all of their makeup, but most clients really feel good at this point. We come back up through the temples, kind of work our way up, and then I'll get back into this top section here again. Honestly, for most head massages, I like to spend about 3 to 5 minutes, especially if you have a client that you've got a little extra time. Take some time to really give them a great head massage. This is something that I would teach my assistants when I was had an assistant program. I had my assistants made sure that they would do at least a 5-minute massage on each client. This allowed me to have more time to do my other clients while I was double booked, but it also just gave my clients a really great experience. So now we're going to go under the head, and at this point usually most clients are pretty relaxed. You can lay back on my head. So I'm going to have them lay, and I'm literally just supporting their head with my hand, and all I'm doing is I'm taking my 2 fingers and I'm just massaging right around their neck, that nape of the neck. That feel good? Is it too much?
Oh.
So we're getting right in at the nape of the neck, right where that occipital bone is, and I even go sometimes right behind the ear as well. A lot of people hold tension there. And I'm just bracing her head with this hand. So this hand isn't doing any massage technique. It's just literally holding the head so it's not falling back. Takes a little pressure off my other hand. And we're literally just massaging down here. You can grab the hair again. You can kind of see it a little better there. We're just kind of massaging underneath, getting into these neck muscles that tend to hold just so much tension. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, you can lay back. And then at this point, we're getting close to the end. Sometimes I like to just take my hands and kind of run it through the hair, kind of pulling the hair a little bit. This is actually, it feels really good. Make sure not to pull too hard, but a lot of clients like to feel a little bit of tension. You can even take a little bit here and kind of pull back just slightly. Again, feel your own head. See what feels good for you. What would feel nice for your clients. So just kind of finish up here. One more pass through this hairline area. And then all the way through the sides, one more time, and all the way out. And we will rinse out. Now, as I'm finishing up rinsing out the conditioner, I am making sure that I do rinse it out properly. You're gonna feel it in the hair where there's like a little bit of that slip. If it's too much slip or product, make sure to rinse that out, because as you go to blow dry the hair, that is going to be such a pain in the butt to get out if it's not fully rinsed. Same thing with underneath the head. So I'll just kind of pick up the hair right here, making sure that I'm really getting everything super, super rinsed. We're not leaving any residue, any product, anything like that. Especially through these ends, because we did apply a little bit more conditioner there. Then we will wring out the hair like this. So wring it all the way out, especially through those ends. I'm holding it with this hand, so I'm making sure not to pull too much. And then I'm really using pressure to remove as much water as I can. I'm going to take a new towel. And I like to take the towel and I like to place it right over the client's hairline. And I'm pressing down on the hairline. And then what I like to do is I like to take my finger in the towel here and just make sure to get it out any conditioner or shampoo that might be in the ears, clean up behind the ears for them. And then we'll just kind of use the towel here and lift the client's head up. Make sure that we're getting any moisture down here. And then just kind of wring it out like this. Now, some stylists like to do a little turban wrap with the towel. I never have, especially because I have this towel underneath them. I just let them walk back to the chair, but you wanna make sure that it's not dripping wet. So we're gonna go through it one more time with that towel. I will then have her sit up for me. Go ahead and sit up. And at this point is when I'm checking this towel to see if it's too wet. Sometimes with some clients, maybe their head, it didn't quite fit in the bowl 100% or whatever. So sometimes this towel could be a little bit wet. If that's the case, I'll just go ahead and replace it. In fact, I'm going to with her. So we'll take this off, take that down, and we just add in a new towel. But as you can see, I mean, yes, it's wet, but we're not dripping wet as she walks back to the chair. And go ahead and grab the towel there so you just have it. I grab all this hair here. And yeah, she's ready to go on to the next service, whether it's a cut, a blow dry, or whatever we might have. So I know this video was a little different than my normal videos, but I hope that it was still super helpful and maybe you picked up a little tip or trick that you've never tried before. As always, thank you so much for being here, and because you stuck around till the end, I want to give you a free little gift for hanging out with me. In the description below, there is a link to download 10 free Instagram captions. That's right, I wrote your next 10 Instagram captions for you, and you can download them for free. Just copy, paste, put them into Instagram, and you have your next post ready to go. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and leave a comment letting me know what is the tip or trick that you learned today that you're gonna implement in your next day in the salon. And be sure to check out all of the rest of my other videos on my channel. I've got lots of different playlists that show different techniques and even ones about business as well. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see y'all next time.